Just like we're the freshest and the sharpest and the most like fired up at the beginning, I think so was the church. Man, roles clearly defined, right? Vision freshly imparted by like Jesus himself, right? Everyone knows what they're doing, and it's really easy to just read that and just chalk it up to oh, that's so nice. Man, they're cute, right? Early church, older times. But if we can shift that a little bit and stop thinking about that as a once was and think about that as a could be, I think it changes the way we read that passage and think about that conversation. Like when you're sitting with some friends talking about a trip that you weren't a part of, but then all of a sudden you hear that they're going on another trip and they actually want you to be a part of it. You start kind of paying attention to what they already did and what worked, and it's like a good foundation to build on. This wasn't just a description of the early church. This is the purest, simplest, most beautiful form of the Christian life that ever was. And Acts tells us this about that church. You ready? They devote themselves. They devote themselves to two directions and one goal. First, to the gospel, the apostles' teaching, and then to the group, the fellowship of believers. And what does God do? God moves, right? So pick it up in verse 42. And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers, and awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being performed through the apostles. So they went all in. Like they let the good news of Jesus Christ radically change their life and change the way they live. And I wonder, church, if for some of us and sometimes our biggest hurdle is not our knowledge of the Bible or our lack of discipline or our lack of interest in seasons. I wonder if our biggest hurdle is that we've kind of overcomplicated what Jesus truly calls us to. And a whole lot of us kind of feel stuck and maybe unsure and not totally positive on where we're supposed to put our energy. Man, I know that's been my story at times, but here we see it really, really simply. These believers, man, they just devoted themselves to the gospel. They devoted themselves to this group of believers, and God moved. Like we're talking awe, not, oh, that's awesome. We're talking like standing at the foot of the ocean, looking out over the vastness of it and being keenly aware of your smallness. Standing at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, looking out over the Front Range and going, my gosh, this is big. And I'm really, really small. Awe, wonder, fear, like the good kind. And then it says that many signs and wonders were being performed through the apostles, and that's just a biblical way of saying like crazy stuff was happening, right? The stuff that Jesus did, he's giving sight to the blind and making lame people walk, and sick people were getting healed, and they were doing it too. Like this ordinary group of normal people, they were doing it too. And man, I don't know about you guys, but I want that. Like that's a group of people I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of a move of God. And so I think this call for Acts to us is this call to devotion, and it's really just a call to focus. Like, man, our lives are so clouded and busy, aren't they? We just go 100 million miles an hour all the time, and it feels so complicated. But what if we could just slow down and focus a little bit?